that yesterday. It took like 5 minutes to empty. If people are watching it to learn from.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Kingsley. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Welcome to today's class. I make an habit to stay 10 minutes past time so that we give opportunity for anyone who has one issue or the other in connecting. So we'll proceed with our class for today. Omar, are you there?
Yes, I am, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, welcome. Can you say a word of prayer for us?
Okay. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Our Lord, we want to thank you for this evening session. Thank you for bringing all of us together. Thank you for the opportunity to learn and undertake you. We ask, Ancient One, that you made manifest to us as wisdom. Help us understand what the class is about. At the end of the day, to really empower us like we expect it to. In Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Okay, welcome everybody. I'll start by trying to take inventory for our class yesterday. Does anybody have one or two things to say from our class yesterday? You have any question you want to ask before I go down to the assignment, which I casually asked us to make a research on? Does anybody have something to say? Jeffrey, I can see someone, Jeffrey. Amen.
Yes, good evening, sir.
Okay, good evening, HP.
Actually, I jotted something you were teaching yesterday,
Okay.
and I think I understand what you are teaching.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. You care to share one or two things with
Yeah.
us? What was your take home from yesterday's class?
Okay. I was able to understand that that the please excuse me, let me that the UI UX is a product digital application a user suppose interact with.
Can you
Every
take that?
digital product being interact with.
Sorry, can you take it again from afresh?
Okay, I was able to understand that the UI UX product design is a digital application a user suppose interact with, and uh, and uh, and every digital product, either good or bad, was done by someone. And we have the product manager, the product designer, which comprises the UI UX design. I think.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Um. Okay. You're breaking. You're breaking. I can't hear you any longer.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a little bit of correction I'll bring from what you said, but let me hear Sarah. Sarah Michael, your hand is up.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So yesterday, what I learned from the class was that before any product is brought into consideration, like before a designer takes the step of maybe designing a product, he must understand the problem and how the product meets the user. That was my take, and I also understood that there are certain things you have to put into consideration, like the expression, like whether the product satisfies the user's need and how the product generates income for the user. And another thing is that does the product have, does it meet a long-term goal? Exactly. Probably I'm using the wrong word, but those were my own take from the class yesterday.
Okay, that was great. Yes, you're correct. You're correct. So the words you used were correct. So I just want to bring a little bit of correction to what Mr. HP said. Yeah, he mentioned that UI UX is every digital product. That's not so correct. UI UX is the personnel that works on every digital product. He himself is not the digital product. So UI UX is a role. That's the person. It's just like when you say a fashion designer is a person that designs fashionable wares. So we should understand to put a difference between the personality and the role which the person is occupying. So and understand the activity that the person is carrying out. So today, that's a good one, Mr. HP and Sister Sarah, or Miss Sarah. That's a good one. I'm happy to see that with all of the scattered talk we had yesterday, we were able to pick one or two things. So down to my next question, I asked that one or two of you persons should look into certain apps and see if you can come up with a feedback. That was a casual assignment. The assignment still stands, but by the end of the class, we'll be able to understand the assignment better and know what exactly we want to do. But I want to know, did anybody for any reason made a research, try to consider any app, probably after the class, while you were ending your Zoom call, you started observing one or two things or thinking towards the light of what was discussed? Anybody?
Yes, I did.
Okay, who's speaking?
Omar.
Omar. Okay, Omar, please proceed.
Yeah, so you asked us to critique two apps we have on our phones, and I looked at YouTube and Temu, and I think I really like Temu. The presentation is very colorful. It actually works. Their marketing is top notch. All the icons on the app work. It's easy to use. You can just purchase what you want and check out and pay, and your item gets to you. So I think Temu works well. YouTube is okay, but the only challenge I have with YouTube is that once you exit the app, it stops working. So I think it would have been better if the songs or whatever it is you're listening to keeps playing even when you're not exactly on YouTube. Yeah, so that was how I felt
Okay,
about it.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's good to see that you went deep. Well, let me quickly say this. Okay, V, your hand is up. I'll come to you shortly. Let me say this about the two apps you mentioned. For YouTube, you can actually leave the app and your songs keep playing. You see, but unfortunately, YouTube has not been able to communicate that expressly to us. Now, that feature is locked up in the Pro version. When you subscribe to YouTube Pro, you are able to leave the app and the songs you are playing or the video you are playing will keep playing in the background. So, but then that's a feature that is for the paid version. But now that's where we come into the UI UX personnel, knowing how to carefully guide their audience. So now YouTube, let's say for instance, this is a frustration you have with the app and you really had the money, you have the money to pay so that you can probably be doing something else, be listening to a song or be keep watching a movie or something. But now the team does not know that there is a sincere user that is using this product and really wants this feature, but does not know that that feature is possible, but only in the Pro version. So they've not been able to rightfully communicate what their Pro version occupies, what and what you are supposed to benefit. So they might end up having a lot of people using YouTube, but they are not making as much sale as they would have wanted to if every or half of those people are subscribed to the Pro version. So while you're using certain application, it's a good thing to consider how to carefully guide your user from staying on a starter package to a premium package. So I'm going to say this about Temu. I love YouTube. Yes, I use YouTube. I use Temu. But personally, you said you like Temu. So I've said previously that every one of us will not have the same exact observation with certain application. What you like expressly might not be what I like expressly. So for Temu, I feel Temu is, what's the right word? Is good buying, selling, and all that. But I feel Temu is too, what's the right word now? It's too choked. I'm going to use that word. So, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Reason because every product target a specific audience. Now, and why I said that is that when you come up to Temu and you want to purchase something, there are so many things happening. There is a pop-up coming up telling you you have 300,000 naira to win. All of those things are sincere, good promotions. They are trying to make you feel good and buy your willingness to purchase something today. So they're telling you you have this, you do this spin, you win this package, and you can use that to buy something. And sincerely, they're cutting one or two. You are reducing the price here and there, reducing the price here and there. You know, all of those things seem sincere and all that. But there are so many persons that will not have that time to spend with Temu. If a high-class individual wants to purchase, Temu is the last place they would think of. Now, you want to buy something, there are certain people that are not so, I'm trying to think of the right word to use. Okay, let me put it this way. There are two different cars in the market. There's two different types of cars. There are luxurious cars, extremely luxurious cars, and there are normal cars that are some are also tagged as luxurious. Anybody, each of those cars, for instance, they might a car company, let's say Lexus, may produce 5,000, 10,000 piece of car, let's say the latest Lexus this year, but it's not the same for companies like Lamborghini. They don't produce so much cars. There are certain cars, even in Lexus range, that they call limited edition. They don't produce so much of it. They produce very little, and they produce it for specific audience. You don't see companies like Lamborghini and the rest, you don't see them run a lot of ads, a lot of cheap things and all that. They know that they are targeting a high-class individual. If they make any mistake to make the product seem cheap, they will end up losing their customers. That's why you see softwares like Amazon tend not to do the kind of things that Temu is doing. The reason why Temu is selling in Nigeria, and it will surprise you to know that many of the applications we use sell more in Nigeria than outside of Nigeria. There are certain products, the ways that they are displayed would break the authenticity of the product to some users. They feel like this product is cheap. They don't want to use the product. They would not want to use the product. At early years, Apple was one brand that had done that. So you see so many phone companies, they reduce techno this, techno that. Apple sticks to their three major types of phone released every year. And the beautiful thing with Apple is that once they release that phone, the previous phone they made is out of production. They don't go back. If they are going to be releasing iPhone, let's say iPhone 15, they make a reasonable amount of iPhone 15. Once they are into iPhone 16, they don't go back to making continuous production of that previous phone. And they even do what they call trading. So there are certain companies that has positioned themselves in certain lights just so that they can attract certain customers. So I don't want to use this to kill our time. We have a lot to look at today. Fortunately, we just have 1 hour. So, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. I personally like Temu. I have a number of people that use Temu, but sometimes Temu, for me, it feels frustrating. There are a lot of things flying up, a lot of things coming here, a lot of things coming there. And there are times where I want to buy things and it really works. Like I didn't really plan to buy, but then for instance, I made a purchase about 2 weeks ago. And then after I finished making my purchase, they now told me that because the purchase hit a certain amount, that I have access to add some other free item. And then because they told me that, I kept buying to ensure that I hit that threshold. And once I got to that threshold, and I had about 4 other items to add for free. So I started skimming through, and then I found the other 4 items, and I added it, and then I made payment for it. It will surprise you to know that with them, they are not making losses. Everything they are doing, the system carefully calculates how to, put the money here, put the money there, reduce this price here, bring this price here. The system, now, many of the products we use are strongly AI empowered. So the system carefully follows you and do all of those arrangements, try to track you, do all those arrangements just to ensure that you make a purchase. Sometimes you feel like, oh, that I make a good deal. How do these people really make sales? For Temu, for instance, now, if you buy anything, you don't get to pay for delivery. You have a free delivery. But then the team that had worked on that had considered, how do we make people in Nigeria carefully buy things from us and be so sure that the product is going to arrive with them? How do we build trust with them? So they started bringing out ideas and features like, okay, why don't we let them buy and we give them free delivery? All of these things are things that are carefully considered when building a digital product. Okay, I will stop there. V, you wanted to say something. I'll be sharing my screen now to take us down what we have today.
Hi everyone, good evening. So it's just also regarding the assignment as well. So I thought you wanted us to share.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I did a research on the YouVersion Bible and TikTok. And I'll start with the YouVersion Bible. I like the user interface. It's very easy to navigate. Everything is perfectly labeled. Like even when you're not looking for something, you can easily find it. Okay, so this is where this is. This is where this is. So it's easy to see where things are, and then it serves the purpose of keeping me on track when it comes to Bible reading. Like for instance, Strix, Duolingo had that. So has that as well. So because of the fact that you don't want to lose your streak, so it kind of keeps me engaged. Okay, I don't want to lose my 30-day streak or my 60-day streak. So I like that part. It made me stay committed. But I think the only part of the usage that I didn't meet when I started using the YouVersion app, and I still don't meet now, I still haven't seen now rather, is community engagement. So when I saw the ad before I joined, I thought I was going to be able to get this small community and have some fellow Christians. Like when I do a Bible study, I can go into like mini WhatsApp chat, but inside the app where we can talk about it. And so build your own community. So it's not exactly there. Probably you have to do that by yourself. That's the only option that they offer. So that was the only thing about that I didn't see when I joined, but everything else from the user interface, which is very easy to navigate, everything else is fine. Then coming to TikTok, TikTok is amazing as well. The user interface is not as easy as the YouVersion Bible, so the icons sorry, in the bid to create space. I know they want our screens to just be filled with the video without interruption. So in the bid to do that, almost as if all the icons are clustered down. So their target audience is really Gen Zs and probably early millennials, people that would take their time to really find out this is where this is where that is. Because conversations I've had with later age millennials and maybe Gen X, they just give up at some point. Like I don't know how to use that. So user interface is not as easy as the YouVersion. I just did a comparison. Not as easy as that, but it does what it's meant to do. It keeps you engaged, like this thing that they call doom scrolling. So it was built to make you doom scroll, and you can just endlessly, because videos are interesting. And I also like the fact that it listens to your the algorithm listens to you. So what you want to see is what it keeps showing you with subtle suggestions of you might like this, you might like that, and all of that. So I like that about TikTok. So which made me to think, what if we had, because a lot of people said they trained their algorithm to give them Christian content. Now imagine if we had something like a TikTok kind of thing inside the YouVersion app where people just get to scroll and see Christian content. I think a lot of people will spend more time on the YouVersion app. So that was just my thought. Thank you.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a very nice, honest critique of both apps. I think some of these applications that we look at receives feedback from people on how you use their app. I know a lot of them do that. They have communities where you share things like that. But that's not our focus for today. So we'll proceed. I saw someone's hand up, but because of time, you permit me. Our class is just for 1 hour. I wish it could be longer, but we just need to make due use of what we have. So I was taking my time today to write down as much as I want to share with us for Moodle 1. So I just put down all my notes together. I was doing that on my tab and I just transferred it to my laptop. So while I was reviewing my notes, I need to add 1 or 2 things, remove some things and all that. So I'm just going to be reading from my notes. Probably by the end of the class, I'm going to share this note with us so that you can also refer to it when there's a need. So welcome to UI UX design. The reason why I keep using the word UI UX is because a lot of people are so fond with it. In a professional sense, you stand out more when you say you're a product designer. Then, in light of you explaining what you do, UI UX then stands out. You're a product designer. So it sounds more professional, more standing. So this class is a foundational class. This is a foundational class, but then I didn't just want to leave us unequipped. So I'm thinking about us going a little bit further. So we're going to be starting with section 1, understanding UI versus UX. Understanding UI versus UX. If we get to the professional class, it will go beyond UI UX. We'll start looking at a product designer. Who is a product designer? But because this is a foundational class, we're going to be streamlining to just UI UX. So understanding UI versus UX. What is user experience? I said yesterday that UX means user experience, UI means user interface. What is user experience? User experience refers to the entire journey a user has with a product before, during, and after interaction. The entire journey a user have with a product before, during, and after interaction. So when the user is coming up to use the product, there's something we call, when we're building a product, we call it onboarding. Onboarding is the few steps a user spend before a user gets admitted to a product. You get to a hospital. When you get to the hospital, the nurses do not just drag you into one of the rooms and start giving you injections. They would ask you to get, what's that word? Form. Is it form or file? To get a hospital file. And then when you get a hospital file, you fill in your details, you fill in conditions and all that. And then when that is done, when you are being treated, the nurses or the doctors would keep putting report of your condition in that file. So just in case any doctor aside from who has been treating you come up to want to administer treatment, the doctor is supposed to know where to resume from. So an onboarding process is the first few steps we take a user through while using an app for the first time. So some app, when you come up, they'll tell you, register, put in your name, you put in your name, put in your email address, you create a password, and then after that, then I start telling you, you can use this app to do this, you can use that app to do that. They just tell you 1 or 2 features that the app has to offer. That's an onboarding process. If you have by chance used that app before, that's not your first time. So the app is not going to onboard you like a first timer. It's just going to ask you for your credential and then you log in. So different apps have different ways to which they onboard customers. or the onboard users. The way Instagram is going to onboard users is different from the way TikTok is going to onboard users. It's different from the way WhatsApp is going to onboard users. Every app has a specific way to which a user is onboarded. But I will leave that for now. We're going to look at that critically when we come into designing itself. But for now, I said user experience refers to the entire journey a user has with a product before, during, and after interaction. It includes usability, accessibility, efficiency, emotional impact, clarity, trust, satisfaction, friction point, and learnability. Now, all of these points is what your UX input in a product is supposed to check. Usability. Is it usable? If people comes to your app and intend to want to carry out certain tasks, is it usable? Is this something that the community can find vital? Is this something that the community can find vital? You know, at some point a while ago, I was trying to understudy Telegram, and I felt like they were not doing, you know, Telegram. Okay, let me not use Telegram let me use something that's going to relate more. I don't know how many of us have used Skype. How many of us used Skype back then? Any of us? Any of us by chance? You've used Skype?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Mr. HP has used Skype. Any other person? Okay, probably a number of us don't know. We have been seeing the word Skype, but we've not used it and we don't know what it is. So Skype is just what we have with Zoom. Everything that Zoom initially does was what Skype was doing. But Zoom had to re-strategize and developed better on their product. So whenever we're building a product, there's something we call MVP. So I'm going to be noting words. We'll be revisiting this word at a later time into the class when we get to its specific topic, but I'm going to be using them now for clarity's sake. There's something called MVP. MVP means minimum viable product. So if we want to build a product, we know that the product has many features. For time reasons and financial reasons, we might not be able to introduce all the features that the app has to offer at a go. We cannot introduce everything now. That's why you see that when you use app, time to time, the application prompts you for update, tell you update your app. The reason why they're asking to update your app is because they have thought of features to improve the quality of the app. So every time the app is improved, they would prompt you to do an update. So every app that is being built starts off from a process that is called MVP, minimum viable product. It means that what is the least aspect of this app that we can put into the market so that people can start interacting with it and let's start building credibility. We will then continue from that point to develop the app gradually. We'll continue from that point and we'll develop the app gradually. So the reason why I'm raising this now is because of Skype and Zoom. Skype has been existing for years, but for some reason, the app was not developing. It just got stuck at where it was. Zoom, on the other hand, came into the picture and has been existing for a while, and then COVID came. After COVID came, a lot of people tried to use Skype, and there were a lot of glitch. The system that Skype has built was not sufficient to carry the pressing need for COVID at that point in time, where churches needed to use Skype to host services. What's it called? Schools needed to use Skype to hold classes, and they would have said, let's do it on YouTube, but it's not possible on YouTube because both parties at both end of the call will not be able to interact with themselves. So everybody was coming on Skype. But the Skype system never thought about features that could accommodate that need. Zoom, on the other hand, was already in the market, but it took Zoom, I think, less than 3 to 4 months. They started bringing up new features to incorporate into their system. And the moment they were putting up that features, they were publicizing how that this product can meet specific need that is currently a challenge in not just a region or a country, in the entire world. You and I comfortably we're using Zoom today just because of that little window of an opportunity that they got. Before now, Skype was very popular in the US, very popular in the Western countries, not so popular in Nigeria or Africa. But the possibility of the opportunity that came up during the COVID period opportuned Zoom to come into what they are currently. So what I'm saying is that your app might be in the market, but might not be usable. It might just be there, but it doesn't meet the extreme needs of certain individuals. It does not meet the extreme needs. A lot of people conveniently would like to use Zoom compared to Google Meet, because there are certain features that Zoom has been able to incorporate. For instance, I might be working with someone on Zoom and I have the ability to control the person's mouse. I would request the person grants me access. You don't need to control your mouse. Out from my end, be controlling your mouse and be navigating through your tabs, your folders. There are certain features that the team, and for credibility reasons, I strongly applaud the Zoom development team. The UI UX personnel, the brain behind the system is so incredible. You see features that are coming in now and again. They keep bringing features. You can share this, you can do this, you can do that. If you look at WhatsApp, for instance, of recent, WhatsApp brought up a feature where you can now share screen. I can now share my screen when I'm using the app, while I'm on a video call with you. So they try to increase the usability of the app. So every UX input in a product is supposed to enhance usability. The next thing, accessibility. Accessibility, how quick can I carry out certain tasks with this product? How accessible is this product? What's my accessibility rate with this product? The next on the list, because of our time, efficiency. Does this app really do what he says it can do? For instance, how many of you have used WhatsApp call of recent? When you finish the call, WhatsApp will ask you, how was the call? They try to ask you. Exactly. It tries to ask you. It's trying to get your efficiency rate with the app. Was the call lagging? Was it a smooth call? How was the call? You know, it tries to ask you questions like that. They are not just doing it for doing sake. They're trying to gather feedback. So every time you say the app was bad, they try to do a system analysis and try to understand how to improve on the app. So every time, for instance, you select the call was bad. Now you just selected. The system from their end put a tag there. So when the team comes back for a review and they see, okay, Ijoma puts a tag that the call was bad at this time, they try to run through the back end analysis. Why was the call bad? So they try to see, okay, what was bad here? What was wrong here? The system does an analysis and give them an in view of when your call was ongoing, what was happening. Was it network issue? Was it that this was bad? Was it that you didn't like the interface? You just try to understudy that. There's an app in the market. I think maybe by our next class, I'll try to get the name of the app. I've just forgotten the name. So what that app does, that every time a user visits a website, the app tracks you. When I mean track you, the app literally tracks you. The app records your screen. We've used it for certain products that we've built. When I mean record your screen, I don't mean record your private screen. Record your screen on the application. They want to see what you do with the application. So when you click this button, you move here, you click here. They do that mostly for websites. And for applications like WhatsApp and all that, where you hear that your chats are encrypted, what it means is that such kind of application cannot use such kind of product because your informations are private, so they are not disposed, it's not disposable to them. But random websites like you want to buy something on Amazon where you know you are not chatting with anybody, there's nothing private you are displaying and all that. So when you navigate through Amazon, Amazon tries to study you. So did you buy or did you not buy? They try to see what was frustrating to you. Let's say I want to buy from Amazon and I check and I try to do shuffle. And I noticed that as I was doing shuffle, it was not really shuffling well. And I got frustrated with the app and I left. The system will put a pin on me and say, user, this, that from so location was using the app and was not satisfied. So the AI system built into there is able to read your emotion and see how you use the app. And that's why, just to say this broadly, that's why if you search for bag on Amazon and you come on Facebook, you start seeing bags. The system tracks you. It tries to look, okay, this user searched for bags on Amazon. For some reason, this person did not buy bags. Okay, this person did not see the bag that the person wants. We start flaunting other kinds of bags to see what might interest this user. So things like this are things, there are a lot put into product that we from the front end using the product do not really know are going on. We do, you just use the product. Sometimes you be like, these people tracking me. This only small bag I check now. Bag is everywhere. You go to Facebook, there's bag. You come on Instagram, there's bag. Well, unfortunately, many of these products, they sell data. So but that's not our focus for today. They sell data to tell Facebook, can you help us? Can you help us share our products to this user? We noticed that this user ABC came to our app to check for a bag, and we noticed this user also have a data with you. So why that is possible is, many of us now create accounts with different products using our email. So we create an account with Amazon, we use our email address. We create an account with Facebook, we use our email address. So that's like what is being basically used to track you. So like, oh, this user with so email has an account with us and has an account with you. The person checked for a bag on our product and the person could not purchase a bag. We noticed the person has an account. Can you help us flaunt more of our bag? So I'm just using layman terms, but they sell data and then these people are allowed to advertise. So the next on our list, emotional impact. I'm just going to run through. You can make your research on the rest. Emotional impact, clarity, trust, satisfaction, frictional point, learnability. UX is not just about screens. It's way more than that. Anybody that is not a critical solutionist, that's someone that could sit and critically think about solution to a matter, will not so much find UI UX interesting because you feel like you are being disturbed. Because basically that's what you do. You sit with a product, you critique the product from where the customer is telling you from, foresee so many things and how to ensure that this product hits the market and is extremely good. I have some group of friends that come together, look at the economy, the product that's going to solve that problem. And by the time they make the product, they don't use the product, they don't put it to the market. sell the product. So I would leave that to us to one of the applications we use today that were bought. For instance, WhatsApp has been bought, Instagram, solving real life issues and sell the product to certain organizations. Sell the product, say, oh, we build this product. We notice your organization is facing this problem. Look at this product. We want to build this product and we want to share it with you. Then that organization now looks for developers to develop that which this UI team has been able to, UI UX team has been able to put together. So UX is decision architecture. Now, I specifically put something here which I tagged the reality. If a product is beautiful but confusing, it is bad UX. Now, remember, we're still making emphasis to UX. I said UX refers to the entire journey a user has with a product before, during, and after interaction. And I went down to explain how that a user used a product before, during the onboarding, how that user used a product during, which I made mention to how you probably feedback you got from when you were making a call. And I also talked about after. If a user does not purchase a product from an application, how do we follow up with the user? How do we ensure that this user get back to us and purchase something from us? So it goes beyond design. It travels down to the architecture, through, during, before, during, and after interaction. If a product is beautiful but confusing, it is bad UX. So always have that in mind. If a product is beautiful, if it is very beautiful but confusing, it is bad UX. If a product is simple but ugly, it is weak UI but possibly good UX. So the aesthetic of a product is under the arm of the UI, but the functionality of the product is under the arm of the UX. So both arms must work together. To have a great product, both arms must work together. The UI needs to be on point. The UX needs to be on point. The UI needs to be on point. The UX needs to be on point. So we'll go down to what we have next. What is user interface, UI? User interface is the visual translation of UX decisions. It includes layout. Layout is how the app looks. For instance, if you're looking at my screen, you see many things flying. There's button here, there's this here, there's that here. Layout, how it looks. Typography. Typography talks about the text, the font. What font do we use? Do we use a curvy font? Do we use a bold font? Should the font be big here? Should it be small here? Should it be wide here? Should it be tiny here? Typography. Topography. What am I saying? Typography. The next, color system. We need to understand the color. I said to us in our last class that certain product has certain colors that are supposed to help customers behave certain ways. So color system. Imagine using a crypto app that everywhere is showing pink. You'd be like, So they are trying to, the reason why crypto would use black is because it provides a neutral emotion. It gives you this strong feel, and you might not know it, but probably once we travel further, you will see how that color impacts emotions. So we'll proceed further. For instance, imagine in Valentine that is just being passed. Someone wants to send you gift from our sister that sells Ampa, and the person now requested that the only gift that they should send to you, let's say there's towel, there's balloon and all that. The person said, buy black towel, buy black flower, buy black balloon. That I like black. So the guy says, because I like black, it's black things that I would as much as that does not communicate love. So color is something that is very significant even while you're building product. The next we have is component design. I wish I can explain component design so much, but we'll see that when we come into the design aspect. Component design is like a design file, a storage such that if I'm working on a file and I, just like I mentioned in the hospital, two doctors can work on you at different time and they won't go wrong because there's a file. So when Dr. B comes, he can see what has currently been done and what can still be done. So on the UI aspect, there's a component design such that an individual can know the kind of font to use for a product. So because this person used Times Roman, another person should not come and use another font. So we build a design system to say that these are the fonts that I use for this product. These are the size of the font. We use only 14 font size 14, font size 16, font size 27. All of those things are specifically so that when you come to page A is not looking different from page B. Or let's say you navigate to this part of the product, you say, why this page they look like say another person do am. Everything needs to work in hand. It needs to be in synergy. So how that is accomplished is that there's a component design where everyone working on the product would take assets from. The next is interaction state. We're going to be looking at all these things when we go practically into UI UX design. The next is iconography. So if you check around your app, you see icons everywhere and all that. The kind of icons we are using is supposed to synergize. The next is space system micro interaction. UI is what user sees. UX is what user experience. UI is what user sees. UX is what user experience. So I'm going to stretch a little bit more. I know our time is up. I'm just going to be rounding up now. Just so I confirm, are we together?
Yes, sir. We are together, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's good. So the next we have the iceberg model. How many of us know what an iceberg is? Does anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please educate us.
So an iceberg is literally ice in water, right? In water bodies. But what makes it really interesting is that the top surface that you see is really smaller than what sinks beneath the water. Like usually has the bigger part of it inside the water than what's above.
That's correct. So I'm going to get something for us. Let me see if I can exactly. So this is what an iceberg is. So anytime you see an ice on the ocean, the lower part is much larger than the higher part. Remember in Titanic, what was said that made Titanic to collapse was that it hit an iceberg. So this is something like this that it was said that it hit. And this can be, this stuff you are seeing is it's not this small. This can be way bigger than, let's say, about 25, 30-story building. Just this small image you're seeing this way. So I just wanted to put this in mind. We'll use this as we look into the next phase of UI UX. So there's a top part of it, which is visible to the eyes, and there's the bottom part of it, which actually holds, which actually is way bigger than what the eyes is seeing at the top. So consider UI to be what is on top and consider UX to be what is below. So UI is what the people see. But you see, because of the structure of what is under the bigger part, that's what really helps an iceberg to float. And that's true. It actually floats on the water, as heavy as it is, or as heavy as it seems. It doesn't have a structure pinned to the ground. It floats. So we'll come back to our class. We're not teaching about the seed today. So think of UX as an iceberg. So the visual, the UI design, the buttons, the color, the screen, the animation, that's UI. Then the invisible part, the user research, the journey mapping, the information architecture, the flow logic, the business rule, the constraint, all of these things that I'm mentioning, we are still going to look into them. So don't feel like I'm just mentioning things that are flying away. There are things that we're going to look into in our class. So, for instance, user research, you need to consider which market is this thing hitting, who are the people we are selling this into, why are we selling it to them, how do we sell it to them, when do we sell it to them, for what reason, and all that. You need to do user research. How do we hit this user? How can we ensure the user use the product? There will a whole lot. We even go as far as doing interviews, ask people questions, and all that. User research. Journey mapping. Journey mapping simply explains how a user navigate through a product. So if a user comes to the product, how can the user get from this point to this point? For instance, if I want a user to change profile pics, how can the user get there? So from the home page, the user will click settings. From settings, the user will now click my personal information. When the user clicks my personal information, the user will now click edit account. When the user clicks edit account, the user will now see the profile pics. It will now say upload profile pics. The user will now upload profile pics. The user will now save the profile pic. All of those processes are called journey mapping. And in a particular product, there are numerous lines of journey map. So there might be, if the user wants to buy a product, there's this journey map for it. If the user wants to return a product, there's a different journey map for that. If a user wants to, so considering everything that the user wants to do, and your journey mapping starts from when the user opens the application. From that point, how do we help the user navigate to where the user wants to go at that given point in time? At that given point in time. That's journey mapping. Information architecture. Information architecture simply talks about how informations are displayed, how they are displayed to so for instance, our sister talked about YouTube. So one of the concerns will be that YouTube would have to re-strategize on their information architecture. What are the piece of information that we should pop up to the user when the user is using the product? What are the informations we show on the homepage? Do we show this? Do we show that? And all that. Flow logic. Flow logic talks about, is very similar to journey mapping, but in this case, while we know that the user can navigate from this page to this page, from home page to settings page, from settings page to edit settings, flow now talks about how the user actually get there. So on the home page, if the user is on the home page, user will not just tell the system, say WhatsApp, go to settings. Even if that's a feature that is soon to come, Apple does that using Siri. That's a feature that is soon to come, I believe. But then the flow logic gives us clarity as to what the user is supposed to do. So the user is supposed to click this specific button that is then supposed to navigate the user to this page. So the user is properly guided through a flow. And when you are building a system, we build system with flow, and certain flow has a yes or no question. Do you want to edit your account? Yes or no? Do you want to put this? Yes or no? We need to put the user on a neutral. There are sometimes that I use certain app that I get to a point and I don't want to continue, and then the system does not give me an easy way to navigate back. What I do most times is I just totally close down the app and then I open it again. I entirely just shut down the app because it doesn't give me a smooth way to navigate back. It doesn't give me a smooth way to navigate back to It doesn't give me a smooth way to, sorry, hold on. Okay, it doesn't give me a smooth way to navigate back to where I started from. So the next business rule, that's about the business aspect of the product, constraints. What will be certain constraints that we'll be looking at for the product. So this aspect brings us to there's still a whole lot we were supposed to look at, but it brings us to a pause. I had taken the liberty to bring out certain products that I wanted us to consider to case study. So I know many of us know Airbnb. So I've taken a screenshot of Airbnb. If you have your time, just like a few of us understudied setting up, if you check out Airbnb, you check out the app is doing, the screens we have here, it says your stay at Alice's place. It tells you when you checked in, when you're supposed to check in, when you'll be checking out. It tells you to message your host, your place. You check the other screens. You see what you would do. It shows you things that are around certain locations. You know, if you're traveling for a trip, let's say I want to go to London and I say, okay, I come to the app and say Airbnb, I want to visit London. And then it tries to tell me, oh, if you want to get an accommodation in so place, these are resort centers you could actually visit if you lodge in this place, because these places are close by, you know, things like that. So let me just keep moving. And this the app. This the app. So if I scroll down, this the website. This the Airbnb. You see everything looks sleek, straight to the point. This is checkout. Your checkout instruction. It tells you throw away, trash away, turn things off. It gives you certain instructions. So you don't just leave the apartment and you leave things unattended to. The app guides you in checking in and also guides you in checking out, so that the owner does not call you and say, you have spoiled fridge, or you left the gas on. There are certain things, there are certain informations that the app tries to follow up with you. The app is trying to work like a tourist guide, but then a digital one. That's the beautiful thing with Airbnb. It's not just a platform that you just come and you pick a place and then you go and sleep. No, it stands like a tourist guide, tells you what is around the vicinity, how to enjoy the vicinity, tells you restaurant around the vicinity, you know, a couple of information that are supposed to help you enjoy your stay. Request to book your trip, total, you make your payment. Now, why Airbnb works? These are on a UX analysis. Why Airbnb works? It has clear value proposition. It's so clear what Airbnb is offering you. It's offering you comfortable vacation time, where to eat, tourist places to visit. So the values, they don't need to start telling you that trust us, trust us. They are giving you proposals. Now, you can choose to want to come to London yourself, go and stay in a hotel, but they are offering to stay in an apartment, and they are giving you things which can improve your stay, you know, give you a memorable time, so we have the next trust building mechanism, review, host verification, and this is a very strong one, host verification. You know who your host is, that you know who owns the home. So that I don't just enter the house of a serial killer. Someone now show up in the night. You know how we watch movies. With this, you know who your host is. You can chat with your host. If I scroll back up, you see an aspect where we have here, it says message your host. You can message the host. You can ask the host questions to say, is the environment peaceful at night? You know, you have time to critique what you want and all that. There's transparent pricing, there's guided flow and all that. So it's a good, on a UX aspect, is good. It's one of the best booking app that we have seen so far, one of the best. On the UX strength aspect, it has clear typography, consistent visual hierarchy, large photographs, and clear CTA buttons. What CTA buttons means call to action. So remember I said to you earlier when I was talking about UI, I said flow logic. So call to action. If you see, the buttons are very pronounced. They tell you what to do. Click here. You want to book reservation, reserve now. You want to book this one. You see the use of icons to tell you, okay, this is talking about message. You see this one, trip. This is plane. It's telling you about travel. You know, things like that. Tries to put you in a strong position so that you enjoy your use for the app. So deep insights, Airbnb success was not basically about design. It was trust. If you check Airbnb previously, unfortunately, you might not be able to find, but if you can make your research, try to look for Airbnb old design, because even WhatsApp, you can see how the WhatsApp changed their design. They change how their status is looking. They introduce community. So there's always improvement in the design aspect. So the first concern is the functionality. That's the UX. You need to be said, the app can be very beautiful, but ends up becoming very frustrating. Not being able to offer what people actually need. So I said deep inside, Airbnb's success was not design first. It was trust. After Airbnb has been able to build trust, they now started refining their product. They started refining the app, started refining how it looks, how it interacts with people. So let me just click that real quick. If you see the app currently, it looks very sleek. Okay, I think my network is disturbing. If the network disturbs any further, that would, okay, exactly. Now, as we open this up, I just want us to evaluate some things. Some persons would feel like, put colors in. There are a lot of, and that's the frustration I've had with many clients. So many clients like colors. Put yellow, put purple, make it green. Can we add a little bit of cockroach brown? See, I like this color, I like that color. They don't understand that when you are building products, your product might become overwhelming. There might be a lot of things flying in the eyes and all that. I remember when Junior started way back, Junior was too colorful. There was yellow everywhere. They had to refine their design, started introducing a lot of white, because it makes it calm, makes it easy for you to read, to follow up on what you have and all that. So, for instance, this pops up, help us improve our experience. You see the first thing they're asking me, they're trying to take consent for them to track me. So this is, you can decide it's not necessary. Cookies is like, go and study about cookies. I'm not going to, because of time. So you see from the app, they ask me, where's your destination? When is my destination? Who? If I want to add a guest and all that, I can become a host if I want and start letting people use my space, home experience, you want to see places and all that, services. You can see popular houses in Cape Town, available in Lekki this weekend. So I'm in Lagos. The system is able to understand that I'm in Lagos. So there's available houses in Lekki, stay in Nairobi. So you just keep popping up pictures of places. And let me say I click one. So this is Lekki. Let me pick one of it. It shows me pictures of the apartment. I can share with someone, which is very necessary. It might be that I'm searching for this apartment for someone else. I can save if I'm not really ready to purchase now. So you start giving me things about the apartment. The price, £49 for 2 nights. Check-in time, this is when I can check in. This is checkout time. Hosted by, this is who is hosting. Designed for staying cool, AC, blah, blah, blah. I can choose to read more. They now ask me what is in this place. There's Wi-Fi, there's free parking, there's air conditioner, there's fridge, there's no alarm, there's a workspace, TV, this, that. So it just keep giving me features. I can see reviews from other people that has been there. I can see the exact location. Remember, one of the features I put up is that visibility. They are very transparent. It shows me the exact location of where the apartment is. So from where I am, I can see Lafayette Bridge, I can see Palm Raf Resort, I can see LCC Park. You just try to put me, then it tells me this is my host. I can message my host, other things I need to know, cancellation policy, house rules. This is the house rule for the place and all that. So it tries to give me as much information as I can take to ensure that I'm on safe hands. So there are other amenities that you might want to check and other. So I'm going to end here. Before I bring the class to a close, I want to know, does anybody have question? Anybody question before I give my final words? Any question? Are we here? Can we hear me? Let me be sure I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. I hear you, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so there are no questions, I believe. So I'm
I have
going
a
to end with
question.
this.
I have a
Okay,
question.
okay.
Okay. You made mention about colors, ensuring that your product sits well with the clients, right?
Mhm.
But then how do you like get to know the kind of colors to use that can actually like settle well with them when they come in contact with it?
Okay. That's a very, very good question. In design, when we get into the aspect of design, that's the UI aspect largely, there are certain rules that are used in designs. For instance, there's something we call white space or breathing space. Now, the reason why we have that is because it improves readability. It puts the user in a calm state. I'm trying to look for a very bad design. I know Jumia has improved over time. Exactly. Can you see how my screen is looking? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you, personally for me, this is one of the worst designs that there are a lot. Can you look at my screen? There are a lot of things happening. Like like I was teaching, I talked about hierarchy, architecture hierarchy. Currently, as I'm on this page, I don't know what I'm supposed to start doing. There are a lot of things flying. Now, the fact that the system, I said that the UI can be bad. Remember, let me go back to my notes there so that you don't get me wrong. I said something about where did I put that? Okay, I can't find that. So I said that
Reality is still up.
okay, it's still up, 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 up. Are we there? Okay, yes.
Is
Reality. I said if a product is beautiful but confusing, it's bad. If a product is simple but ugly, the user UI is weak, yes, but the UX is good. So my challenge with what's the name of these guys again? I used to forget their name. These guys is Microsoft. What's Microsoft? You guys don't use Microsoft. Nobody's saying anything. Let me.
Bill Gates.
No. Their product. Bill Gates is the owner. Edge, exactly. Edge, Microsoft Edge. So that's their browser. Now, this is the home page of Microsoft Edge. This is the homepage of Microsoft Edge. Now, this is there's a lot of things going on here. Now, let me show you Google. Have you not really asked yourself, why is it that Google is, this is Google. Now, don't consider the black hole. Currently, I use a black theme on my computer, so that's why it's basically showing black. I use a black theme, that's why it's basically showing black. But now, the first thing I know is that if you were actually on Google, I don't want to go extra. If you were actually on Google, the interface you would see, this is me opening Google on a different browser. If I open Google on Google's browser, you could see that the interface is welcoming. And every of these applications try to tend to use more of white. It makes the product welcoming. I'm trying to see if I can, let me see if I can open Chrome itself. You see, Zoom, there are a number of products that would use white. This is just my own theme, but I don't want to dive into that. So how do you know how a product color is supposed to be? One thing that should not be underestimated is the color of white. And when we come down strongly into UI design, we're going to see these things. There's what we call primary color and secondary color. There's a primary color and there's a secondary color. Now, to these guys, the design is, how many times have you actually used Microsoft Edge? There are a lot of things happening. So the product is trying to advertise not just the web browser, but also trying to advertise a news page. So, but I feel that there are better ways to have introduced this. There are better, the whole place is so choked up and all that. Let's look at Jumia. Jumia's app initially had a lot of, I don't know if you know Jumia back then, they had a lot of yellow. Later on, they had to do design review. Yes, they are still yellow, but now they are more of white. It just has a way to calm down the system. And then if you see, even with their white and the yellow, there are not too many colors flying around. So there's the brown color, which is the yellow, and then there's the primary color. So you have these colors, you know how to play with them, focusing on your target audience. If I were to be doing a love app, what's this love app that people used to, there's this app that people used to, somebody wants to say something? There's this app that's popular in the Western world that people used to.
Tinder.
Tinder, is it Tinder? T-I-N?
Yes.
Yeah, Tinder. Now you see how the app starts. There's a whole lot of red, and then it comes down to giving me pictures of. Remember when we started, remember I mentioned something about onboarding. You notice that? Now you see how Jumia onboarded me. I'm not logged into Jumia here. I'm not logged in. My account is not logged in. But you see, Jumia cannot afford to tell me to start logging in without showing me what they offer. So they gave me accessibility to start seeing product. So I can be seeing product, I can be adding product to cart. Then when I want to pay, they now tell me you are not logged in. I now need to pay. Straightforward. There's no tedious onboarding process here. But we come to Tinder. It didn't give me the access to start seeing people's profile and all that. It tries to build a private system. That's because they understand that their users most likely might want to be private. So then I can now decide straight up, I want to create an account. It started onboarding me, taking me through process, use your Gmail. You see what I was telling you? when you use your Gmail address, you are able to track you and all that, which is not the bad thing, by the way. So every application you want to use, you are supposed to strongly consider colors. It has the way to attract. You see the color used on the button, red. You need to understand the product, understand what color works for the product. What color actually works for the product. Somebody that wants to sell drugs cannot say they want to use, what color now does not work for drug? Red, heavy red. There are certain
Yes,
colors. Sorry?
yes. Thank you, boss. Oh, sorry.
So there are certain colors that does not fully work. But when we get to that point, it's something that we're going to do together. We're going to strategize about businesses. I would have said we use our sister's business that told us yesterday, but until business hit the market is confidential. So there might be one or two things that she's trying to keep private, and she doesn't want it to hit the market, and then
So we can use
exposing
my
it.
own.
Who's
We can use
responding?
I'm already in the market, Oma.
Okay, Omar. Okay, that's fine. We would be sure that everybody's in agreement with that, and we'll look into that. So we would need to, as we proceed, begin to consider certain products. So Omar, what I want you to do for us is that before our next class, try to write down a little bit of brief about your business, what your business does, and why you want to digitalize it. So over the call, we're going to have one of these times, we're going to have strategy section. We're going to break down your ideas, look for how to make it work. Probably the designs will be building will be around what you have to offer. So guys, that brings me to the end of this class. I would leave us by saying what I wrote down on my last note, my last point for today. Where did I write that down? I think I wrote down in my note. Every true design has to be in synergy with the UI and the UX. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next week. Next week, Wednesday, right? Yeah, next week, Wednesday. So, my assessment for today, I believe every one of us is logged into the system. So, at most by tomorrow morning, you will find your assessment in the system. So, log onto your dashboard, find your assignment there, and have it delivered before our next class. So I think the assignment should be submitted by Monday. So I'll take my time to review our response. Oma would communicate with us how, if there are any other thing, if there are specific ways the assignment should be submitted and all that. I want to believe you had a very interesting time into this class, and I strongly want to believe you learned one or two things. I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night, sir.
Night.
Good night.
Yeah, everyone.
Some of you are sounding as if you are sleeping. You just woke up and as you had good night. Thank you, sir. Good night. Please go and have your sleep. I love you all. Have a nice night.
Oh, God.
All right.